Good morning, children. Welcome to the online education of class 6 science. So, dear students, in the previous classes, I started the lesson habitat, adaptation, and adaptation of animals in different climatic conditions. So, in the previous class, I discussed about what is habitat and what is adaptation, and also I discussed about the biotic and abiotic factors of a habitat, and also we studied an activity to know or to make you understand how important is the biotic factors in order to make the plants and animals to grow in a proper manner. Okay, so we have found that the abiotic factors such as air, water, then light, heat, etc. are very much important for growth of the plants. In fact, these biotic factors are one which are very important for the living organisms, without which the living organisms cannot survive. Okay, so these must be provided along with them. So we find that many of the organisms, they exist in very cold condition, climatic condition, in hot climatic condition, and so on. Okay, so is it not right? So they adjust or they adapt to climatic condition of hot, cold, or mountain regions, whatever it is. So this is because they have adapted. Okay, so then what is the meaning of this adaptation? Means they manage to survive in this condition. Okay, so that we call it as what? That is where the word adaptation comes in. Okay, so adaptation is does not takes place only in a short period of time. The plants or the animals cannot adapt to any particular habitat in very short period of time. So it is a process over thousands of years it may take for the abiotic factors to settle in that particular region. Okay, a particular region changes based on the abiotic factors. Okay, the plants need the particular time to adapt to that particular place or habitat. So those animals which can adapt to these particular abiotic factors or these particular habitat, they remain or they survive. But whereas those animals or plants which cannot adapt to these conditions, climatic conditions of that particular habitat, they die. So hence, so animals adapt to different abiotic factors in different ways. Okay, maybe heat, light, okay, whatever it is, air. So the different, based on the different abiotic factors, the animals adapt to different in different ways. So the result is variety of organisms stay or present in variety of habitats, in different kinds of habitats. Now let us look at some of the habitats and the abiotic factors present in these habitats, and how the adaptation of different plants and animals in these different kinds of habitats. So already in the previous classes I was telling you about the types of habitat. There are two types of habitat, that is terrestrial habitat as well as aquatic habitat. So again, there are different examples are there for terrestrial habitat, and also different examples are there for aquatic habitat. So in today's class, let us study the journey through different habitats. So different kinds of habitat, how the plants and animals have been adapted, that we are going to study in the today's class. Firstly, we are going to study about the terrestrial habitat. Okay, we'll go on studying about the terrestrial habitat. Under that we discuss about the adaptation in terrestrial habitat such as deserts, then grasslands, then mountain regions. So such examples we are going to study. Firstly, we are going to study about some terrestrial habitat, that is desert. So already in the previous class we discussed about the abiotic factors of a desert. Okay, so in the desert the climatic condition is very different. It is very hot and dry. Hardly it will rain in such place. Okay, there is full of sand. So in desert it does not rain at all. Very little amount of rainfall they receive in the desert conditions. So the abiotic factors is hot and dry. Okay, so hence, what about the animals which are adapted to this condition? So already in the previous in the beginning we studied, while we are talking about the adaptation, camels, they have long legs to get heat away, to in order to escape from the heat of the sand. Okay, they have a long legs, and it excretes very less amount of urine. Its dung is very dry, and uh, it does not set such kind of adaptation it has. So what about the other animals and plants which are found in the deserts? Do they have the same kinds of habitat, same kind of adaptation? Yes, so let us discuss about the remaining animals and plants which are found in the desert conditions. So there are different kinds of animals which are found, or which are surviving in desert condition climate or habitat other than the camels. Those are rats and snakes. Okay, so these rats and snakes which do not have a long legs to escape from the heat up during the daytime. They don't have a long legs, right? So they have very short legs. Rats have short legs, whereas snakes do not have the legs. So hence, in order to escape, to stay away from the heat, intense heat of the sand, so they stay deep in the burrows in the sand. Okay, they make a holes, deep burrows in the sand. Okay, so that they can escape from the hot sand. Okay, sand gets hot due to the temperature, more temperature over there. So they stay very deep in the burrows or holes inside the sand in the desert areas. Okay, so these animals come out only during daytime or only during night, because where it is very cooler. Okay, they go deep in the burrows in the soil, in the sand in the sand during the daytime, and they come out of the burrows only at night, where it is cooler. They at that time they come out and they catch their prey, take the food, and again they go and stay in the burrows during the daytime. So this is what the animals which have adapted to desert habitat. Those are snakes as well as rats. And what about the plants? Yes, it is very wonder here. So to study about the plants, there is one small activity it is given. Just let me explain you. Okay, so take one cactus plant, potted cactus plant, and another plant. Take both the one leafy plant and one potted cactus plants, and tie a polythene bag, plastic polythene bag, to some parts of these two plants. Now what you do? So already in the previous class we have done, when I am explaining about the transpiration, the loss of water through in the form of vapors. Okay, this is called transpiration. At that time we tied a polythene bag to a leafy branch of the plant. So after few hours, when you observe there, so we have seen that the collection of droplets in the polythene bag, it means the water drops are escaped from the leaf in the form of vapor. But since there is no way for the water to escape in the form of vapor, they have converted into droplets. So in the same manner, you have tied the polythene bag to some parts of these two leafy, one leafy plant and the one is cactus plant. Okay, now you keep these two potted plants in the sun and observe it after few hours. Okay, so after some time, what do you observe inside the polythene bags of these two potted plants? So do you see find any differences between the amount of water collected in these two polythene bags of these two plants? Yes, of course. So what you observe here is the potted cactus plants loss very little. Means in the polythene bag you will find a very small amount of water collected in the form of droplets, whereas in the leafy plant more number of amount of water is collected in the polythene bags, because the transpiration is more in leafy plant and transpiration is very least in the desert plant. So hence, so desert plants, the characteristics of desert plants is as follows. Go on making the points here. So desert plants, in the desert plants, they lose very little amount of water through the transpiration. So transpiration process is very small, very little in the desert plants. This is first point. And second point, the leaves in the desert plants are either absent. If they are present, they are very small, or they are converted into spines. Okay, see, the leaves of the desert plants are either very small. If they are present, they are small. Usually they are absent. In some, if they are present, they are small, and some they are converted into spines. Okay, so this helps. So due to the leaves are very small, due to the absence of leaves, or they are converted into spines. What is the use of this? This is the kind of adaptation for the desert habitat, because there is less availability of water in the desert habitat. Hence, this helps in reducing the loss of water in the leaves through transpiration. So loss of water from the plant body in the leaves through the transpiration process reduces. Hence, the water storage will be remained in the plant body. So that will be helpful for the photosynthesis process. And third point, the leaf like structures what you see in the cactus plants is not the leaf. It is in fact it is its stem. Okay, so the leaf like structures what you see in the cactus plant, it's not a leaf, it is in fact its stem. So photosynthesis in these plants is usually carried out by the stem part. Okay, stem part carries out the photosynthesis in these plants. Okay, so the stems carry out the photosynthesis in these plants, and the stem is also covered with a thick waxy cover or a thick waxy layer. So in order to retain the water, see, if the stem part is not covered with the, see, stem is going to prepare the photosynthesis food. Okay, photosynthesis or preparing the food it is going to carry out, but through the that stem the water may lose through the transpiration. So in order to avoid that, the stem is having also covered with a thick waxy layer, so that through the thick waxy layer the water droplets cannot escape, cannot go out of the plant body. So hence it helps in the retaining the water. Retaining the water means water remains in the stem part or in the plant body. So most of the desert plants have a long roots. They have the roots which go very deep into the soil for absorbing water, because the water is not available in the just outer layer. Okay, in the desert plants, desert area, desert habitat, so the water will be present in the very low level of the soil. So hence the desert plants have the long roots that go very deep into the soil for absorbing the water from the soil in the desert plants. So dear students, I hope you have understood the today's concept. Look at the exam figure 9.4 here. Desert animals such as rats and snakes, they are made the burrows and living just so much below the ground, so much below the sand level, right? So look at the plants, typical kinds of desert plants such as cactus which are grown in the desert area. Look at them. So there are variety of cactus plants there. So I hope you have understood today's concept and make the notes of this concept, okay, so that it will be helpful for the exam. Thank you and have a nice day.